Hi guys. So today we have Ahmed Abdullah with us, who is the founder and CEO of this product called Digifarm, which is conducting an initial exchange offering on their own. Uh, and we would be interviewing them in terms of what they did, what they feel is right, what they think is wrong in the industry, and how to conduct a token sale in general. So, in our terms, these questions, answers, and these recordings would be helpful for those who are like looking to conduct a token sale of their own, or maybe are interested in investing in certain tokens on their own. That being said, it's always pertinent to remember that we need to do our own research. No point over here is an any investment advice. So, with that, I'd like to welcome Ahmed with us. Hi, Ahmed. How are you?
Hi, how's it going? Good, thank you.
So we have been doing well, and thank you for taking the time out for us. I know that you have a very busy schedule, and like you must be flying to a lot of places and meeting a lot of people. So tell us something about yourself and like what your day is like, a normal day for you.
I would say, a typical day is about, catching up with our team and updates, especially in the morning, and then,
Uh huh.
how we can carry on and improve our platforms and our implementations. And yes, that includes, a lot of traveling and things like that, but I always try and remain, very connected with our team
Mm-hmm.
and division within DigiFarm. Uh, you know, it is. Um, but yes, we've been doing a lot of traveling recently. We've kind of slowed it down a little bit just the last 2 weeks to really focus on on our token sale and things like this, moving a lot of our operations around. We are a company that works very much in Europe and in Asia as well, and the Middle East in particular. So there is a lot of movement.
Mm-hmm. So it's a huge part of the world that you are covering. Like some would say almost two-thirds of the entire world's population.
Yes, I would say. It's especially blockchain and the internet and with this type of technology, it's all about creating a global network, as we have the ability to do that now. We're not restricted by requiring, a strong financial footprint in these countries and things like that. And I think that's what is exciting about blockchain and the top technologies we're using today.
Definitely, definitely, and it makes more sense. So, tell her like tell us something about your background. Like, how did you enter the pharmaceutical industry, and like where did you hear about blockchain, and basically what all you have been doing up until this point of time where you decided to conduct an IEO and do things on your own.
Sorry, could you repeat the first part of that?
Yeah, so we wanted to know some things about your background, what you have
Okay.
been doing up until this point, how
Yeah.
you know about the
So,
pharmaceutical industry and the blockchain industry.
yeah. So, obviously, what we've been doing as an organization is trying to implement blockchain for pharmaceutical pricing or healthcare pricing in general, supporting the shift to payments by performance
Hmm.
rather than the very standard, fee for service approach to healthcare. Um, so obviously, working as a health economist and working in healthcare, we could see that everybody wanted to work this way, but the technological limitations were very apparent, and there was a lot of infrastructure limitations, that really slowed down the move to value-based healthcare. Um,
Hmm.
so that's when we thought, look, this technology could really help. So now with Digifarm, we've built our platform. We have a working platform for healthcare contracting.
Hmm.
Uh, Now the next stage really is to release our token. Um,
Hmm.
we're releasing it from Switzerland, and for a utility token offering, you need to have a working product, and that's something that we always really wanted to stand by, to release our IEO or our token, whether it was an ICO in the past or something like this. But we were always waiting for the right time to release the token for a working product.
Got it, got it. So, like, I'm hearing words like value-based medicine, healthcare contracting, and like these are pretty big words for people who probably do not understand the healthcare industry. But what we've been hearing a lot about is that countries, especially the developed countries, they are moving towards socialistic principle towards healthcare. We saw Obamacare. In my own home country, India, we are hearing about something called Modi Care and things like that. So, where do you see your product? Like, does it compete with them? Does it help these existing programs, which are government programs? Like, how do you see DigiFarm helping out the people, and like walk us through the flow of the product?
I'd say initially to the first part of your question, when you're talking about different types of healthcare systems, and now in India at Modi Care, we were actually in India doing a it was called the Swiss Digital Health Conclave, where businesses from Switzerland went to India, and this was arranged by the consulate in India. Really look about how we can collaborate and use our solutions. So I think there is an opportunity for even DigiFarm solutions to be implemented in India, and that's what we're currently working towards and discussing with local partners. And if I give you just to answer the second part of your question and applying it, let's say, to the Indian landscape for healthcare and healthcare payments. What you have there is a predominantly private healthcare system. But you do also have, public institutions and governments that require, they're required to cover these patients, individuals that are either of low income or do not have access to healthcare, via their employers like this. And with that, let's say, the Indian government has a limited budget to try and serve millions and millions of people that fit in within this category. So where a solution like DigiFarm's platform can help is when they are trying to create a formulary or provide or procure services, whether they're healthcare services or they could be healthcare technologies, medicines, or devices. They have a limited budget to play with, and if they use a fee-for-service approach for funding this type of healthcare, then they will be required to pay for the treatments or these drugs, even though they may or may not have provided, benefits to the patient. Whereas if they take a value-based healthcare approach, they can organize arrangements and contracts with either these service providers or drug manufacturers to only pay these people or organizations based on the performance of their therapies in real life. And this actually saves them on spending money on therapies that do not work or do not provide value to that population. And that's a way that they can provide better therapies, but at the same time save money on these therapies that do not work. And that's one of the examples we're discussing now with the Public Health Foundation there.
Got it. So I hear that you are thinking of conducting an initial exchange offering, and there was some mention about an initial coin offering from your end. So you must have seen how the ICOs of 2018 fared. So you must have had some learnings with respect to ICOs of 2018 or even the early part of 2019. So where do you think that they went wrong?
I wouldn't say. I'd say it's difficult because obviously these all these projects or fundraising, exercises were affected by the wider market and things like that. But there was, I would say, also an oversaturation of the ICO market. everybody wanted a project, everybody wanted to release a token for whatever it may be. Um, so I think it was a difficult time. It's also people I think still have to prove that token economies are actually worthy. I
Mm-hmm.
take the view that tokenomics doesn't really matter. It
Mm-hmm.
does matter to some extent, but at the end of the day, if your token is not going to have functionality and there's no long-term vision for the token, then its value isn't great. Um, it's about I think thinking about what the actual fundamental capabilities of the tokens will be, what they are currently as well, how they can be expanded in the future, and that's what we try and focus on, and that's what we've tried to do. There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
we've been keeping behind the scenes until it's the right time to release. When our network and token economy and our actual token on the market is mature enough. Um, so we have some very exciting plans for our token economy. So and it may be a lot of these organizations struggle to get that across, or it was just the way why the market was perceiving things.
Mm-hmm. And I have I would agree with you on these things, that ever since these exchange offerings started to become a thing, there has been a distinction between token utility and core token economics. Because what we've been seeing is that the focus has shifted, and for the betterment of the blockchain industry towards token utility, right? Because how many tokens you create, and how many tokens are kept in reserve, what is the value of the token, most of it is left to free market principles on the exchanges. Because I hear that products are offering 15% or 20% of their tokens on one exchange, and then the rest of it on some other exchange, and so on and so forth. So what are your views on that?
Um, yeah, I would agree that it's moving more towards the utility side and away from the core economics. I mean, I remember back in the day when, I knew people who just buy things because they had super nodes and all this other crazy stuff. Um,
Yes.
but I think, yeah, I don't agree that people should have different prices on different exchanges. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the way we've done it is that we have an IEO on one exchange,
Mm-hmm.
but we've already agreed listing on another exchange. So we're having an IEO on CoinEO,
Mm-hmm.
but then our actual listing is on both CoinAll, which is OKX's partner exchange, and CoinEO, and they'll be trading at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we've done it that way, and we've made sure that even for both rounds of our IEO, that we've
Mm-hmm.
had this. Not many people do that, but I think it's just a way that we thought it'd be a lot more fairer for these people, especially people who hadn't heard of our token or the sale, and then when they
Mm-hmm.
come around, they know that it's a fair price, and when it gets to the market as well, that there'll be an even playing field for everyone, and hopefully all benefit with the development of our network and our platforms in the future.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And speaking of crypto exchanges, so there is a lot of secrecy involved in what they are, who they are owned by, and sometimes even questions about their legitimacy are propped up. And I'm pretty sure that in your conversations with these exchanges and trying to finalize which one was the best fit for your product, Digifarm. So, what did you learn from these conversations? Because there are not a lot of articles on the internet, or maybe on research reports, that we hear about the functioning of these exchanges, and the only time when we hear about them is when something bad happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite interesting. There's been a shift in the way exchanges have been communicating or treating the projects that they are listing with. It's no longer just taking as many listing fees as possible and making sure they're getting so many projects on. It's now turned to a system where a lot of these exchanges are really looking into the quality of your project. They're looking at it from an investor standpoint, and it's more difficult to get on these larger exchanges because they're looking at it that way. I think it's better for the long term
Mm-hmm.
health of the exchange ecosystem. I think it's quite interesting. But I have seen this private account show.
Ahmed, your mic is on mute. Yeah. Are you there?
Yeah.
So I guess Ahmed's mic is malfunctioning a bit. He'll be joining us shortly. Ahmed,
Hi,
can you hear me?
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Welcome back.
Sorry, did I get cut off after the exchange question?
Yeah, like you were saying something and like I could hear the volume bar move, but your like mic was muted, so I couldn't hear any of it.
Yeah, I was just making the point that exchanges are really looking at projects the way that investors would, looking at its liability,
Mm-hmm.
looking at, you know, the potential, in the future, rather than looking at generating as much listing fees as possible.
Mm-hmm. But you must agree, like that these listing fees and all of that, it makes for a very good revenue model for exchanges, and I think that's why we are seeing so many exchanges prop up in the last 6 months or so.
Oh yeah, no, it does, to be honest. And I mean, some of the fees we've been quoted by some of these exchanges has been astronomical. Really, some of it very difficult to justify. Um, you know,
Yeah, that's
so
the crypto world.
that's the issue at the moment. I think, and there's so many newer exchanges as well, so you don't really know what's what. Um, but generally, I think because there are so many projects applying for these IEOs, they still have to go this period of vetting and due diligence, which
Mm-hmm.
was happening when ICOs were popping up left, right, and center. So I think that's quite interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, like, if we would like, can you share some of the details regarding what were the regulatory compliances or maybe due diligences that were expected from you on the platform where you are conducting your IEO, Coineo?
So we have two things. First, we had the regulatory side because we're running it from Switzerland. That needed a working platform. It needed an evaluation of our white paper and our roadmap by the
Mm-hmm.
Swiss Financial Market Authority. Um, and then it also needed some work with the local authorities to obtain some tax rulings because
Mm-hmm.
it's a token offering, and
Mm-hmm.
you'd also work with cryptocurrencies. Then, in regards to the exchanges, very much they'll do a review of your team, your white paper. Uh, Often you'll have to have some sort of meetings with them, online web meetings. Um, to be honest, with Coinall and the OKX guys, I mean, we went directly to Shanghai for a face-to-face meeting actually for that.
Wow.
And this is often required because of the scamming that goes on within cryptocurrency and blockchain and social media and things like this. So for that one, we were required to visit their HQ, which was very interesting and intriguing, and develop this business partnership going forward.
Definitely, and I guess it's safer for you too, right? Because we have seen, like, at least these haven't been proven, but there are allegations how Quadriga CX, like, maybe the founder knew what was going to happen, maybe he withdrew the money earlier. Exchanges have been known to like get hacked. So yeah, I mean, it is like a more secure option for you to like go visit them, see their facilities, and make a decision on on more information than just the exchange of emails. What do you say?
Yeah, no, no, definitely. I think it's very important, especially, I mean, what we're building is a token economy and a healthcare network that we want to run for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years,
Mm-hmm.
long after I'm gone or anyone of our team is gone or anything like this. We want to make this such a big thing that it really needs to carry on it when it will be, you know, a huge, healthcare token economy, we hope. And for us to do that, we needed to work and make sure that we're working with the right partners. Um, we want, users of our healthcare applications, any DigiFarm applications, to be able to exchange tokens wherever they are in the world. Um, Potentially have that functionality directly on our applications as well. Be paid for and rewarded for data, even if, let's say, they're in a remote part of India,
Mm-hmm.
and and then they want to be rewarded financially for sharing some of their health data.
Mm-hmm.
And the ability for us to do that without restrictions, um, without having to open special, bank accounts in those countries and things like that. As long as we have the permission of the patient or who owns this data, that we are able to take this data in an anonymous fashion and monetize it and enable them to benefit from that. This is, the vision we have for the future. Um, so really, having because the exchange functionality is so important to this, it's important to have this really strong relationship.
Got it. Makes sense. And like when you speak about the Digifarm team and the partners, so like is all of your team like based in one location, or like in the true blockchain fashion they are spread all over the world?
Yeah, I mean, we are true believers of decentralization and things like that. I think where we require a few colleagues together, especially for development center and a lot of the tech work, then yes, you do require a few people in a very close location.
Mm-hmm.
However, other than that, I mean, we have a team that's very much spread out. I'm a firm believer of using technology and enabling people to live their lives and be in comfortable environments rather than having to relocate to work for you and things like that. I mean, we look for the best people, not the people that are located in the best position. We want the best people in our team. So whether someone is in Dubai and someone is in Turkey and another person is India, we would like to take them on and we'll find a way to make it work.
That's interesting. And like when you speak about partners, so one of these key partners which every like token offering had last year was a marketing partner, a blockchain expert, or a PR specialist. So I believe with the advent of IEOs, their roles have been on a downtrend. What do you think about that? Do you like require PRs and marketing efforts, blockchain experts advising you on getting listed on certain exchanges, or trying to talk talk about your project on their secret Telegram groups? Are these practices still in vogue, or do they not help anymore?
I think they can. Um, Marketing always helps to get your name out there, and potentially even if these guys do not invest in your IEO down term, they'll still be following you, and in the future when they see a good announcement, they could then potentially buy your token and invest in you and follow you and do whatever they want or use your platform. So I think it's helpful from that point of view. I'd probably imagine that since the recent popularity of IEOs that a lot of these marketing companies have taken a hit financially. But
Mm-hmm.
again, it's up to them to innovate or lose their position. Right? There must be a niche area within IEOs and within the new crypto token sale economy to gain an advantage. And I think it's with any other walk of life, they have to adapt and move forward.
That's true. That's true. And like as we approach the conclusion of our podcast, so like I wanted to uh, get you to answer a few funny questions which we have. So
Okay.
are you like active on LinkedIn?
I'm very active on LinkedIn. To be honest, I would say it's my favorite social media channel.
Great. So you tell us, how many messages do you get hit on a daily basis? Because you are an IEO founder and you are doing this project. So I'm pretty sure that you must be getting hundreds of people selling you snake oil and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I do get a lot. Um, I'd say on a quiet day, I could get 10 messages quite easily. Whereas
That's a quiet day.
after there's a big announcement, you're looking at more than 20 to 50 messages potentially sometimes. Um, but to be honest, I do try and respond or say no thanks. I mean, LinkedIn has it's good that it has this button where you can do quick response sometimes, and just because if someone's reached out to you, um, offering you some business collaboration or some service, I'd rather just tell them no, and instead of having to worry about, it doesn't take long as well. I don't really like it when people ignore other people. I think that's quite rude. But so I do, I do get use LinkedIn a lot. It's good because it has a very professional network, and ours is a B2B solution.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I do think it has a problem with is, I would say that their company pages are really, really poor.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of limitations on the company pages, so I think there is an opportunity for someone there to leapfrog them on that side of things.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. And my next question would be like, which token offering for you is the funniest of all? Like, if you want an example, a couple of years ago, there was this ICO called Fit Vitalik, whose entire objective of the token offering was to buy a gym membership for Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum, and like get him in shape. They had their entire roadmaps and everything that he will build muscle by this month, and so on and so forth.
Um, to be honest, uh, fun. I would say the funny ones to me, the
Yeah.
funny ones are all these. Let's say the Bitcoin forks and things like that. That to me, those to me are I'd say quite funny because there's some of them are just exact copies and just renames. And to me, whoever just copies and renames or copies and doesn't rename or semi renames is just a scammer and a copycat, and there's no innovation there. And but I've heard of the funny ones. I've heard the funny ones, but the the reason I would say with some of these Bitcoin forks is
Mm-hmm.
because that a lot of money is thrown into them by some people, and a lot of people lose money or make money on these things, and it impacts a lot of people. So for me, it's those ones.
Got it. So Dr. Craig Wright would be really happy on hearing your answer. So
Yeah.
yeah. So like at the end, like I would like to ask you like how often do you read Hacker Noon, and like what do you think about it, and how we can improve ourselves if
Um,
needed.
yeah, I mean, hacking, I think is quite it's quite an interesting publication. It's one that I do often read. It has a lot, especially if I'm really trying to keep up to date with a lot more tech stuff, a lot of advancements. I like the fact that it makes you question some of the things you're doing in your own company. And
Yeah, definitely.
that's why I really like to read it. I like to read. It does have a lot of opinion pieces. It has a lot of features from thought leaders or other companies and things like that. And that's what I like to try and stay on top of,
Mhm.
rather than any other type of website. Really, I think if I can take what some of the questions I ask myself when I read Hackanoon and we implement it as part of our company and improve our services, I think that's something that's good good use of time.
Yeah, I mean, we try to steer away from the news websites and we try to become an opinion led website. So, yeah, and like I'm really glad that you believe us to be like that as well. So, I guess we are at the conclusion of the podcast. And thank you, Mr. Ahmed Abdullah, for being a part of our podcast. And from the entire Hackanoon family, like we have the best wishes for you for the DigiFarm token sale.
Thank
What
you.
are the dates for your token sale?
So the second round will be starting on the 18th of June,
Mm-hmm.
and that will commence for 4 days
Mm-hmm.
on CoinEL exchange, and then listing will commence on the 24th of June on CoinOff and
Mm-hmm.
CoinEL at the same time.
Mm-hmm. So best of luck for that, and like you have our best wishes, and let us know how it goes. Like as you know, like publishing on Hackanoon is like just a stone's throw away for you. So
Mhm.
anytime like you want to publish a piece over here, like you are always welcome to do that for us. Thank
Perfect.
you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Have a nice
Thank you.
day.
Take care.